Taylor Swift's latest album, The Tortured Poets Department, the anthology, has achieved remarkable success, with all 31 songs debuting on the Billboard Hot 100 and occupying the top 14 positions simultaneously, a historic first. She also broke her own record, which was previously 185 million streams. The Tortured Poets Department is the first album ever to debut with more than 200 million streams. This feat underscores Swift's significant impact on the music industry. Aside from the commercial success, since the Grammys, Album of the Year is mostly determined based on the artistic and technical quality and artistry of an entire album, rather than commercial success or personal relationships. Let's get into why the Tortured Poets Department deserves to win the 2025 Grammys Album of the Year. Critical acclaim for Taylor Swift's latest album. It's true that Taylor's music is commercially appreciated, but her masterful lyricism is usually overlooked. TTPD, the anthology, has profound emotional depth and masterful storytelling. According to The Guardian, critics have highlighted Swift's unparalleled ability to transform personal experiences into universally relatable narratives, showcasing her growth as both a songwriter and a vocalist. The album's expansive 31-track collection delves into themes of love, heartbreak, and self-discovery, offering listeners a rich tapestry of emotions. Collaborations with artists like Post Malone and Florence Welch also add diverse musical textures, enhancing the album's appeal. Here's a clip explaining the lyrical depths of some of her songs on the album.
This lyric from Clara Bow, half moonshine, full eclipse, is beautiful, but as an astronomer, I have a lot of thoughts about what it means in the context of this song on Celebrity. Because yes, moonshine could be the bootleg alcohol that was huge in the 1920s when Clara Bow rose to fame, but that lyric is followed by the words full eclipse, which doesn't make sense in terms of moonshine, the drink. So I think this has a double meaning here. I think half moonshine is referring to Earthlight or Earthshine on the moon. Normally when you have a half moon, you can't see the dark side of the moon that isn't lit by the sun. But if you see the moon just after sunset or just before sunrise, sometimes you'll be able to see the unlit side of the moon because of sunlight that's bounced off Earth onto the moon and then back to us to light up that side so that we can see it. And I think in the context of Clara Bow, the song, this is yet another metaphor for the shiny side of celebrity, right? So famous people don't show all of themselves to the world. They only show parts of themselves, i.e. the lit side of the moon. And then us fans form these parasocial relationships with them where we reflect back our own thoughts and personalities onto them to fill in the gaps, the Earthshine.
Clara Bow is a song that I wrote as sort of a commentary on just what I've seen in the industry that I've been in over time, right? Like I used to sit in record labels trying to get a record deal when I was a little kid and they'd say, you know, you remind us of, and then they'd name an artist and then they'd kind of say something disparaging about her and be like, but you're this, you're so much better in this way or that way. And that's how we kind of teach women to see themselves as like, you could be the new replacement for this woman who's done something great before you.
This next audio clip is by the user Josie Balka, where she rewrites the song LOML in the form of a spoken word poem, taking the concept but changing the words to express the way she interprets it.
If LOML by Taylor Swift were written as a spoken word poem, I don't know if I'll ever get over it, from the love of my life to the loss of it. And if you had let it be you for me, it would still be you. Fuck, marry, kill, I would have married you and you buried me. But I'll give it to you. I don't think you knew the whole time that would be your choice. I think you played with each scenario. You tried each of them out and landed on the last one. You told me I was it for you, the love of your life, that you didn't want anyone else to have me. But I know now it was only so there would be more of me to break down Mr. Steal Your Girl, then make her cry. And now I sit at my own funeral, the one you planned and didn't show up to. I mapped out our life in my head while you curated a blueprint of the most painful possible way to say goodbye. And everyone around me wonders why I make such a big deal. Like it's all fake, like the sets of all those movies I sat through because you loved them. Why do I care so much still when you don't anymore, they wonder. But just because it's dead and gone to you doesn't mean it was never alive for me. It still is, and I'm scared it always will be. I had never known a feeling like you before, and I never will again. Two of the bravest things I've ever done are love you and lose you. You are the loss of my life.
If you really want to know more about the meanings of the lyrics Taylor writes in this album, I'd recommend this video by Mend with Mir. She's a therapist who talks about the lyrics of several of the songs on the Tortured Poets department. Taylor Swift's writing has so much depth that there are books specifically for understanding her lyrics.
If there were a Bible or encyclopedia for all things Taylor Swift, then these books would be it. Let me tell you all about these books. Now, you guys know I know a lot about Taylor, but I genuinely feel like you are going to have a better understanding of her lyrics and entire discography after reading these books. Now, there are 3 different eras to pick from. We've got Folklore, Evermore, and of course Reputation, and the lyric analysis in these books goes so deep. You can tell by just how thick these books really are. There's also literary analysis as well. Books break down the lyrics line by line, and then if there is another parallel between another song, the author does a really great job of calling that out and drawing the parallels within each chapter. Aside from lyrical analysis, the book also has a lot of fun facts and activities scattered throughout the book, and if there's a song that features a music video, the author breaks down not only the music video, but also any Easter eggs associated with it. Now, of course, all 3 books cover Swiftie theories, but something that's really interesting about the Wandering Through November book is I feel like it helps you understand Tortured Poets department better because there's a specific section that breaks down lyrics that may be Maddie Healy coded, and I found it kind of really interesting to read.
Even connoisseur Ravi Agarwal has acknowledged Taylor's exceptional talent.
When you are a master at art, it takes time for people to realize this. Taylor Swift disguises her literary brilliance as a cowboy boot wearing glitter and sparkly dress lover. Okay, but the lyrics are extraordinarily brilliant. And there's several academics around the world who've come out and said the same thing. Folklore and Evermore, we start to see this level of brilliance. Now, the early stuff was brilliant too, but all artists develop over time. And so Nobel Prizes are also about influence, as well as what are you writing your songs about? And Taylor is up there with the best in history.
I think Taylor Swift is the greatest songwriter of our generation, maybe of all time, because the songs that she writes bring me places in my life that were before the song was ever written. So I'm not tying that time to that song. It's not like I hear the song and go, oh yeah, I remember when I first heard that song. That's what most songs do. Taylor, when I hear Love Story, takes me to junior high school, long before it was ever written, and thinking of like meeting parents of my now wife, or August when we first dated in college, when we came back together and had the most amazing summer ever, and then she ditched me when it got back to school time and things went bad and we broke up. And those songs didn't exist then. Okay, all the other songs I love, Bob Dylan aside, he can bring me places too like that, but great songwriters bring me places not tied to the song. That's what she does.
Oxford students also admit that her lyrics are poetry. So much so that universities like Harvard have started studying them, and students are taking classes on them.
What's a tip for anyone wanting to study English?
Deviate from the canon. My personal statement was about Taylor Swift lyrics, that they should be considered poetry. There's such pressure to talk about the Brontes or Austen or Dickens.
Yeah.
If you do something you can talk about in a sophisticated and intellectual way, even if it's not academic, that's what all admissions people want to hear.
Why should Taylor Swift lyrics be considered poetry?
If you think that the definition of a text is defined by whoever reads it, if you yourself can see that Taylor Swift lyrics do address things like roles of women, how women have to reinvent themselves every time they go somewhere new, meet someone new, so Taylor Swift eras. I think a lot of other girls have to experience every time they move somewhere, go to a new school, meet new people, and constantly have to go through like bangs era, I'm in my blonde era, skirts era, Rory Gilmore era.
Why specifically Taylor Swift? You could make an argument that most song lyrics are sung poetry rather than spoken poetry.
I would argue that most songs are. I chose Taylor Swift specifically because you class as literature was what my personal statement was about, and Taylor Swift was my footing to get there. So I feel passionately about this, and I will fight anyone.
Aside from the stunning lyrics, the album also features Taylor's impressive vocal range.
I listened to all 2 hours of Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, and I figured out the lowest and highest notes that she hits in that album. Nice strong C3 there. Alchemy is another C3. She hits some really good C3s in this album. A B2, some really amazing low notes from Taylor. So I think her low notes really shone through in this album. There weren't a ton of high notes, but I'll show you some of my favorites. The G5, that's where Dancing with Our Hands Tied high note was. So this one is an E5. That background vocal was an F5, so pretty high.
I love that Taylor Swift makes people uncomfortable. I love that she is someone who has so many women questioning their own values, their own definitions of success, and their beliefs about what does it mean to be a self-made billionaire who didn't make it off of sexualizing herself, who made it from this profound talent that she had. I admire that no matter how many times she was rejected, no matter how many times she was laughed at, no matter how times she was publicly criticized, all the music that she wrote was taken from her and the rights were stripped away from her. No matter the scrutiny she was under, she always stayed true to herself. And I think that anyone who criticizes her really doesn't understand how profoundly hard it is to continue to stay true to your art. And she never over-sexualized herself. She always kept coming back to the music that mattered to her. So, you know, love her or hate her, I think that it is a great point for us as women to consider. Where do you land in that whole Taylor Swift world? And what does it say about your beliefs about women and success?
Upon all of that, if TTPD still doesn't win Album of the Year, and it's instead given to Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter, it will be most likely because of what Jay-Z did at the Grammys last year. People love to accuse the Grammys of discrimination or racism every time an artist they like who happens to be a person of color doesn't win, which is ironic since Beyoncé has won the most Grammys out of every other artist in history. So, pulling the race card doesn't even make any sense. Demanding for another award is just starting to look greedy at this point. Jay-Z came on that stage, disrespected the other nominees, and basically begged the Grammys to give Beyoncé the next Album of the Year award. People love to complain that Taylor wins 2 May Awards, calling her overrated and saying she doesn't give other artists a chance to succeed, which is insane. That's like saying Simone Biles shouldn't win another Olympic gold medal because she's won too many times already, and she has to give the others a chance, just for the sake of giving it to other athletes for once. I've never seen any other artist support and defend smaller and major artists the way Taylor does. If you want other artists to win Grammys instead of Taylor Swift, then they should make better and more successful music than her. Not giving Taylor Album of the Year, even though she deserves it, just because she's already won it several times before, is BS. She keeps winning Album of the Year because her albums are amazing and they deserve it. Artists like Frank Sinatra and Stevie Wonder have also won Album of the Year several times, but no one ever complains about them winning too much. So why the double standard? In summary, The Tortured Poets Department. The anthology stands as a testament to Taylor Swift's artistic evolution, blending introspective lyrics with innovative musical arrangements to create a compelling and resonant listening experience. The songs I covered in this video barely scratch the surface of the literary brilliance of this album. All 31 songs have so much depth, I can't do all of them justice with just one video. Whoever wins Album of the Year tonight, it doesn't take away from the fact that The Tortured Poets Department is the best album of 2024.